Green Day's pro-Palestine lyrics at Coachella, quote, beyond disheartening, unquote. Disturbed frontman David Draiman criticised the rock group for their show of support for Palestine at the music festival. Is this the same David Draiman who signed shells on behalf of the IDF?
He is this very same David Draiman who went out and signed bombs personally to go and get dropped on Palestinian children.
Oh, well, he can go fuck himself then. I'm glad you're disheartened. Anything that makes you disheartened makes me happy.
Exactly. It's just like, I can't believe this punk rock band, this incredibly famous punk rock band, Green Day, might show solidarity with the oppressed people in Palestine.
Why aren't the punks on board with the American global hegemony situation? Why aren't they happy about that? Crazy. Rage for the machine. Green Day changing their lyrics when they headlined the Coachella festival was, quote, beyond disheartening, metal singer David Draiman has said. The American rock band's lead singer and guitarist Billy Joe Armstrong, brackets, still fuckable, close brackets, changed the lyrics of their song Jesus of Suburbia from the 2004 album American Idiot from, quote, running away from pain when you've been victimized to, quote, running away from pain like the kids from Palestine, unquote, at the California Festival on Saturday night.
American Idiot is an album that specifically was written during the kind of Bush era war on terror, American imperialism, war crime bonanza period in US politics, right? Not that American politics is ever not a war crime bonanza, because it is, but it was so on show, right? And there was a big public backlash in the music industry, especially to what happened under the Bush administration. And what's happening in Israel and Palestine, what Israel is doing to Palestine with the support of the American government, both under Biden and under Trump, is the continuation of all of that. The idea that somehow anybody who was whose formative musical moment was during that period would have any political position other than supporting Palestine. How do you get to this point? How can you not see that you're the bad guy, David?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But there you go. Yeah, American Idiot was so layered on thick that it's sort of embarrassing how politically charged it is. There's no element of subtlety to it. It's an album of it's the punk version of basically saying "fuck you, George Bush." Why do you think? Why would you think they would have any other position than this? I don't know. Anyway, Draiman, the front man of metal band Disturbed, sent a message to Armstrong on X, the everything app, inviting him to have a respectful conversation and hear from the other side of the, quote, horrific war. You talk respectful conversation. I'm sorry, you signed bombs, you fucking monster. You're not allowed, you're not a part of any conversation that could be described as respectful.
Yeah, I would maybe take your position a little bit more seriously, David, about what you feel is so horrific about the war. If you treated war with the reverence that it deserves, i.e. thinking that it's bad, rather than gleefully swanning over to Tel Aviv so you can go to IDF headquarters and scrawl your disgraced name on the side of ordnance used to blow up Palestinian children. I don't feel like you actually think that it's horrific. I think that you actually think that it's great and that you love it and that you're very happy when Palestinians die. Otherwise, you'd take a completely different attitude.
Quote, open offer to hashtag Billy Joe Armstrong from @GreenDay, wrote Draiman. You know I respect you, brother. I'd love to have the opportunity for you to hear the Israeli/Jewish side. Again, time out. Israeli and Jewish are not interchangeable. There are lots of Jewish people who are disgusted by you and your positions.
And even then, Israeli...
Most Zionists are Christians in America.
And even then, Israeli doesn't even mean Zionist either. There are non-Zionist Israelis. They just happen to be citizens of Israel. Ofer Kasif is a member of the Knesset from the Hadash party. He is a Jewish non-Zionist, very, very specifically, right? And the Israeli side is... There are different opinions. Of course, most people in Israeli society are pro-genocide at this point because of years and years of ideological brainwashing, but there are plenty of people who do oppose it. They're just in the minority. And then, again, in the international Jewish community, I don't know about you, but I don't think genocide is a Jewish value. Do you? No, I don't think that is. I don't think that's the case.
Absolutely, yeah. I would argue that to say it were would actually itself be quite anti-Semitic.
Or indeed to equate Judaism and Israel, or Judaism and Zionism as being one and the same, rather than an ethno-religious group a nation state and a political ideology.
Indeed. Anyway, he continued, I'd love to have the opportunity for you to hear the Israeli/Jewish side of this horrific war. I'm available to discuss whenever you are. No judgment, nothing preconceived. Let me know. Again, you can't be a part of that conversation because you're not a respectful person. You have signed bombs. Your signature has probably gone through the skull of a Palestinian child.
And that's the thing, right? Is that to not understand the nature of this conflict is to have this is to take this position, right? It's go, no judgment. Let's just have a respectful conversation. I'm like, no. There's a massacre. There's a genocide. Like, children are being blown limb from limb. Like, respectful conversation. That finished fucking 18 months ago when hospitals started getting bombed. Like, the time for respectful debate is over. But of course, this guy is so far removed from the reality of this because his side of this discussion are the people living in the American-funded metropolises of Israel.
Yes.
And he has no connection to what it must be like to live in the ruins, because it literally is the ruins of Gaza, because 70% of the buildings have been destroyed. Probably more now.
He told the Jewish Chronicle, quote, I sent the message to have the chance to let him hear a different take. Hang on, time out. Yeah, I'm sure he, as an American, has not heard any pro-Israeli takes anywhere. I'm sure he has not seen the wall-to-wall pro-Israeli propaganda on American television or in the newspapers. No, I'm sure he's not seen anything. From someone who had a huge number of relatives currently living in Israel, who've had to live through the trauma and horrors of the wars we've been forced to wage. Jesus Christ. You're forcing me to kill you.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. And again, just like the trauma. Oh no, the trauma of literally no one ever dying from a Qassam rocket ever, right? The trauma of the fact that in every single war ever waged between Palestine and Israel, Palestinian casualties have outnumbered than those in Israel to the factors of 10. Again, whilst you in Israel or your family in Israel live in American-funded free healthcare land, and the Palestinians live under military apartheid occupation as has been judged by the United Nations.
And honestly, one of my favourite bits of media is the Zionists acting really poorly when they make those videos of the alarms are going off. I need to go down to the bunker immediately. And I'm like, motherfucker, you claim to speak on behalf of Jewish people, and yet there is a great tradition of Jewish actors in the world, and yet you are representing yourself in this way by acting terribly.
Exactly.
Because I don't believe this at all.
And I was like, no one forced you, Americans especially, no one forced you to go and just live in Palestinian houses in Israel that you were stolen in the Nakba. Yeah. No one forced you to go and fucking move from Long Island over to Tel Aviv or Beersheba.
Yeah. An outspoken supporter of Israel on social media, Draiman led tributes to Jake Marlowe, a British-Israeli musician killed by Hamas while working as a security guard at the Nova Music Festival on October the 7th. He said he was disappointed that Armstrong used the festival to share his political views.
Yeah, because no one's ever done that before. Literally, no one's ever talked about politics in music together. I can't believe it.
Unbelievable. Can you imagine that? A person who's written overtly political albums might make a political statement at the live show that they do.
These motherfuckers covered Land of Confusion by Genesis, an overtly political song about all of the shit that he supports. Yeah. What?
It's tragic how the left have embraced a movement that stands in direct contradiction to most of the values they claim to hold dear. You won't find pro-choice on abortion, pro-LGBTQIA voices in Gaza. That's not true. That's actually just not true. But even if it weren't, you still don't get to genocide them. Pretty much anywhere else in the Middle East, other than Israel. Again, that is simply not true. He said bands with huge platforms and followings like Green Day, quote, need to be cautious with their influence, unquote. Motherfucker, you signed bombs.
You literally
That's you being cautious with your influence, is it?
Yeah, literally. These guys go, maybe don't kill the kids in Palestine. Billy Joe, I think you'll find you're using your influence badly. Unlike me, where I put videos of me signing bombs onto fucking Instagram. Like, motherfucker.
Quote, it can have real life consequences. Hang on. Right. So he's about to say it can have real life consequences. Do you what would have a bigger real life consequence? Billy Joe Armstrong making a statement of political support in a cause that I already assumed he supported anyway, or you literally signing bombs that then drop on hospitals. Do you see the you see the direct difference of the influence and consequence that your actions have as opposed to his? Quote, it has real life consequences and effects that may not be what you'd expect or want. So you want that to happen. Okay. We should always be open to hearing alternative viewpoints to further enhance our perspective of situations as complex as the Arab/Israeli conflict.
And also, like, we should always be open to hearing alternative viewpoints. But he also said you shouldn't be talking about politics at music festivals. So which is it? You can't hold these positions simultaneously.
Hello, everyone. So there's a picture of me that's been circulating online that's on my Instagram page. And was posted all over the place, that people are using to accuse me of supporting genocide. Okay.
Because you are, just to clarify.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, right? I don't know, but if I, for example, had signed the Kalashnikovs that were being used by the Khmer Rouge, people might think that I was at least somewhat sympathetic to the genocide, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think so.
This is the picture in question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the one.
So instead of everyone putting words in my mouth, let me go ahead and tell you what I actually think. I don't support genocide of any kind. There is no...
But, I mean, okay, counterpoint. You did just show us the image on your Instagram page of you doing that, though. So, like, I mean... There's a bit of a dissonance here between the thing you just said and the thing you just showed us you doing. No? Okay. I'm clearly crazy.
Genocide that is being attempted from the Israelis upon the Palestinians. We're defending ourselves. We are trying to make sure that...
Who is we? Because that's a very American accent you have there, chap.
Also, just defending themselves from all of those dangerous Palestinian children.
Yes, those Palestinian children being alive is an existential threat to me from New York.
A cycle of violence doesn't continue. The only way that's going to happen is if Hamas is eradicated.
No.
Well done to that, because they've never been stronger.
Oh yeah, that is true. The Al-Qassam brigades have managed to rebuild their fighting force up to what they were before the conflict started. So we're literally at square one, other than all of the dead civilians and, you know, domestic infrastructure in Gaza. It's almost like that was the point, and it wasn't actually eliminating Hamas that was the point, because that was impossible. Because it's an idea, it's a philosophy, it's a group. It's not like a set of individuals who can go away forever and that's the end of it, you know. And on top of that, actually, this won't end when Hamas are removed, even if you could get rid of them, which you clearly can't because they haven't. Because the root cause of the creation of Hamas is the problem, which is the occupation, which is the internationally recognized illegal occupation of Palestine, the belligerent occupation of Palestine, the destruction of homes, the creation of settlements and outposts, the stealing of land, and the massacre of innocents and civilians, the mowing of the lawn, right? This is where this comes from. Do you think Hamas just sprang out of fucking nowhere? No, this is a material response to occupation. Because, of course, you know, these things have a material basis. Of course, Hamas do and say anti-Semitic things, and they do commit crimes against humanity. They have done these things, you know? None of what I'm saying here is meant to be a support of Hamas. I condemn Hamas. I said it, you know, before people try and have a go at me. But you have to realise that the way this stops is if Israel get the fuck out of Palestine. Get the fuck out. Yep. It's your occupation and people are resisting it, as they have every right to under international law.
Assuming that the artillery shell that I decided to sign on behalf of the Israeli soldiers who asked me to sign it, whose base I was visiting, who are protecting our people, my people on the Gaza border.
They're not doing that. They actually killed lots of them. But they did also then steal their spunk, so, you know.
Well, that's the thing, is that the only reason why October the 7th caused as many casualties as it did is because Netanyahu was taking so many forces away from patrolling the Gaza border over to the West Bank, where they're engaging in the belligerent construction of settlements and oppressions of Palestinians. They took their eye off the ball in Gaza because they were too busy trying to make incursions into territory, to steal more territory, to do land grabs in the West Bank.
Or was it the titty football? Oh, it was the titty football, I reckon.
I was more than happy to do, and I would do it 100 times over. That, assuming that...
So you do support genocide then? Okay, I'm glad you clarified then.
That artillery shell killed children is a disgusting thing to imply.
They probably did. I don't know about that one specifically, but the point is, though, they don't discriminate by age, or indeed seemingly by nationality, by what building they go through, whether it's a quote-unquote safe zone or not.
Famously very accurate artillery shells, apparently. Very, very, very accurate. As you can see from the mess of what's been made of Gaza, you know, all of the destroyed homes and destroyed civic infrastructure. And on top of this, we know what their targeting rules are. Like, if it's a Hamas commander that they're going after, in their own targeting rules, they can kill 300 civilians along with them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's literally fine under their own rules.
Well, you know what?
And given that half of Gaza is literally children, then that stands to reason that they can kill 150 kids for every Hamas commander.
Indeed. But you know what's more accurate than even artillery shells? Pagers. Honestly, the level of immorality in this quote-unquote war, it's not war, it's just slaughter, is genuinely breathtaking. Like you say, I think they probably expected to have had some pushback from the international community by now. And they're surprised. They're like, well, I can't believe we're getting away with this. Whoa, that's crazy. Should we bomb the safe zones now? Because they're not even stopping us. And they have been. And will continue to.
Of course, that's the narrative that the other side always wants to try and feed everybody's heads with, that every single artillery shell, that every single action made is directly targeting children and innocents, which is absolute bullshit. It's bullshit, okay?
Okay, but let's say 10% of them are doing that. That would still mean there's a 1 in 10 chance that that one that you signed went through the skull of a child.
And even then,
it's way more of a percentage.
Yeah.
Like that would still be too. If it was a 1% chance, you still shouldn't sign that because that's bad.
Like, even if you thought this was a just war, even if you believed 100% that there was a just war, right? Like, you don't sign bombs.
Yeah.
I don't sign. Why would I ever want to sign a bomb? Like, what kind of a fucking bloodlust monster do you have to be to go, well, we've been forced into this war and it's horrific, but I'm going to sign the thing that's going to kill the people? That's psychotic. Even on, like, prima facie, it's psychotic. Even in, like, what you believe to be a just conflict. This isn't a just conflict. This is a genocide. Children are being destroyed and killed by ordnance. Like, the majority of the deaths in Palestine have been women and children. And even then, the men that have died, how can you guarantee every single one of them was a member of the Al-Qassam brigades, for example? Obviously, you can't. They've been killing civilian males as well, you know, adult males. You can't just say that because they're adult male, they're automatically a member of Hamas. Israel thinks this. I don't think that. And so we're in this insane position where he's just going, yeah, actually, I'm just happy that all these people are dying and I'm going to willfully sign. Like, that's crazy stuff.
So this guy's the one that wants to have a respectful dialogue.
Yeah.
I support peace. I support coexistence. I always have. I always will. I support the defense of my people and my family. Okay? I'll never apologize.
I fucking didn't notice the Israel pennant. Do you notice something, chat, about that pennant?
Do you see both the West Bank and the Gaza Strip?
Yeah, there's no Gaza Strip or the West Bank cut out that. That my man's a fucking river to the sea. He believes in the Likud Party manifesto of wiping out the Palestinians through ethnic cleansing. If his pendant is to go by anything. Yeah. You know, if you genuinely believed in coexistence, you would have at least have carved out the West Bank and Gaza and believe in a two-state solution. But you don't believe in coexistence. You believe in ethnic cleansing. You believe in ethnic supremacism, and you believe in Zionism.
I'm all for peace and all for coexistence.
How does signing a bomb equate to wanting peace? Even if you think that the Israeli, like you say, you think it's 100% justified and all the rest of it, signing a bomb for peace.
Not happen with Hamas in power. That cannot happen while rocket fire is still being rained on our cities, while my mother is calling me from the bomb shelter as rockets are exploding and being detonated overhead by our wonderful Iron Dome system that we're blessed to have. None of this can happen, okay, without Hamas being eradicated, without the children of Gaza no longer being taught to hate generation after generation.
What about the Israeli children that are being taught to hate?
Taught to believe in their own supremacy.
Yeah.
without UNRWA being dismantled, without all of these things.
Okay. So he's not just here saying that you need to get rid of Hamas. He's not just saying, oh, we need to, I mean, the delusion, but at least, you know, the understandable position, I guess, of saying, well, the terrorists need to go, if you believe that, right? I don't know, you know, I think that it's fanciful, but at least I can understand why people would get to that position. But he's out here saying, no, the charity needs to go. And you know why? You know why they want to get rid of UNRWA? It's because UNRWA are the ones that support them as refugees, right? Once you get rid of their refugee status, those who have the right to return to the state of Palestine, as it was previously before Israel was created, right? Or to Israel proper, give them the right of return to the houses they were ethnically cleansed from in the Nakba. Once you get rid of their refugee status, you can justify ethnically cleansing them, right?
Yep.
It's why he wants to get rid of UNRWA. It's why Logan wants to get rid of UNRWA, because UNRWA are the things standing between the Palestinians and Israeli ethnic cleansing, because they're the ones who guarantee their refugee status.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or just anyone who vaguely opposes them is Hamas.
And of course,
up to and including like the Labour Friends of Israel.
Yeah. And of course, UNRWA are the people who provide aid to the people of Palestine to keep them alive. But, you know, this is the guy who just wants peace. But of course, we can't have people keeping Palestinians alive. No, that's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what a fucking scumbag.
Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.